If your oil warning light comes on, stop driving. First thing you want to do is pull over as soon as you can, get out of the car and then go and check the oil level. Because if you've got an oil leak and there's no oil in it, you'll do detrimental damage to the engine if you continue driving. But don't panic, you've got a little bit of time to pull off the motorway, for example. But the longer you leave it, the worse it could get. And after you've left the engines to stand for a while, check the oil. Mine's okay here, so there must be something wrong with the oil pressure switch or sensor, or the wire supplying power to the sensor. And as I haven't got an oil level sensor, which is attached on the bottom of the sump, just inside this recess here, it can only be the pressure sensor. The oil pressure switch is located on the side of the filter housing, just above the oil cooler. Here's the pressure sensor switch. Mine's a bit dirty. I think I've got a bit of an oil leak somewhere. I'll just have to clean that up first. With the under tray removed, I can put a bowl underneath, and I like to use a degreasant, a brush and a rag rather than a pressure washer, as the water can potentially seep into electrical connections, causing faults. Nice and clean now. Take off the electrical connector. Unfortunately on mine the connector's pointing backwards and is out of sight, and I can't just get at it that easily. But if I loosen the switch itself, I'll better turn it round, which on my sensor is 24mm, and then take the connector off. So that's what I'll do. Oh, my sensor seems quite loose here. That might be where my oil leak is. Just turn the sensor round, and now I can get to the clip. And if you push up with a flat bladed screwdriver, it should detach. Something not right with the catch. Oh, it looks like it's broken off. I'll have to get a new connector now. This is a single wired sensor which uses the housing as its return earth. Some can be 2 or 3 wire connections. So I just want to check the connection, so I'll put a little metal pin in the connector and attach a test light. Turn the ignition switch on and I should get a battery voltage, which I do. So there's nothing wrong with my wiring. If you don't get a signal here, you can check this with the multimeter if you want. And if you don't get a signal, then it's your wiring that you need to look at. Mine's okay, so I'll have to take this switch out and check that. When you take the switch out, you will get some oil leaking out of the housing. So you need to put something in to temporarily stop that. Ideally you want to be using an M12 by 1.5 pitch bolt, if you happen to have one. I'm using a little bit of lint free rag. Of course if you've got a new sensor you can just put that straight in. Here's what the sensor looks like, and I'll put the part number in the description. This one does actually come with a crush washer, so I'll renew that when I put it back in and hopefully stop my little leak that I've got going on. To test these I'm going to use a little bike pump, which should be enough to apply some gentle pressure. That's all that's needed to test it. You don't want to be over pressurizing it. I'll just get a bit of pipe to attach the end to the switch. Of course this is only a rudimentary test, and proper equipment would be needed if you want to test it at various different RPMs and pressure, which would test its exact function with the ECU, as it's designed to come on and off at various intervals within various parameters and conditions that are set. But basically if these stop working, you'll probably end up with an annoying light on your dashboard. That'll do the trick. Put my crocodile clip on the connection. Turn the meter to ohms resistance, which gives me OL for an open circuit. Just check that on the connector. That's okay. So I want to check it on the body of the connection and apply a small amount of pressure. And there we have it. When the pressure is applied, the switch activates and completes the connection, showing a small amount of resistance. So that's working fine. If yours doesn't do that, then there's your fault. So with a new washer, I'll put that back in the car now. Make sure that's nice and tight and refit the connector until you hear a click. But you won't on mine until I get a new connector. As you saw earlier in the video, mine's actually bust. So I'll probably put a bit of insulation tape on to hold it on for now. Recheck the oil level and top it up if you need to do. Mine's a bit on the dark side, due for an oil change. Now all you got to do is go into the car, turn the ignition on, the oil light will light up, and then go out after 3 seconds, which it does, then start the car. No oil light on, then raise the RPMs, and it still shouldn't come on. That seems to be fine, but it's still probably worth going for a test drive just to thoroughly test it, and the job's done, sorted. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, it really helps me out with the channel. Feel free to share the video, and if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you on the next video.